Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 17th of November. Good to have you aboard. Part of the Believe Podcast Network, presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. If you're involved in any kind of an accident, you're dealing with a personal injury, first you call 911, then you call Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys, where they're going to get you the compensation you deserve. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. It's all happening. We got through the week, everybody. We did it. Give yourself a pat on the back. We made it to Friday. The weekend is here, everybody. We have all of our favorite sports all going on. You got the NBA, you got college basketball. Bet Online remains your top spot for all your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL, all in full swing. Bet Online, your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. All the hoops betting action, along with every sport available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to the Bet Online today. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So, Week 11 of the NFL got going last night. You have the Baltimore Ravens. They crushed the Bengals. We'll get to that in a second. The Florida Panthers, 5-game win streak, over. All good things have to come to an end. What are you going to do? You can't win every game. So the Panthers, they lose last night, 2-1 at the LA Kings. They're back at it again tonight. Is that going to be a big game or not a big game? I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it might be. All right? It's Friday. That means I got to tell you what the big games are and what the not big games are. We got that coming up as well. Also, we're joined today. Now, you know we love having the comedians on the show. And right now at the Dania Beach Improv, our pal Brad Williams, he was on with us a couple days ago. If you missed Brad stopping by, you can go to the ZASLOW Show 2.0 archives. Go back and listen. He joined us on Wednesday's show, I believe it was. You can also go to the YouTube page if you want to actually see the conversation. YouTube.com/@ZASLOW Show. I upload all the interviews there. So you can go check out Brad this weekend, at the Dania Beach Improv. Next weekend at the Dania Beach Improv, Jared Freed is going to be there. Jared Freed's going to join the show today. Jared's going to stop by. We have not had him on this show yet. I'm looking forward to talking to him. So Jared Freed, he's on Good Morning Football. Like every week, he hangs out with those guys on NFL Network. I'm excited to talk to him. So Jared Freed's going to join us today. He is at the Dania Beach Improv next weekend. My wife and I think we're going to go on Friday night. Early show, of course. You got to go early show. 10 p.m. is way too late. So he's going to join us today. Looking forward to chatting with him. But we'll start out here with your favorite little basketball team, the Miami Heat. The Heat have won 7 in a row. That's what I'm talking about. Last night, a 122-115 win over the Brooklyn Nets. They get a little bit of payback as now 1-1 the season series. The Nets, it was one of those fourth quarter collapses early in the season. The Nets won the first game, and it was at Kaseya Center too. So the Heat win last night behind a huge performance from Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, look, you could talk all you want about the Heat are playing better right now because Tyler Hero's out. That's bullshit. The Heat are playing better right now. This isn't hard to figure out. The Heat are playing better right now. Yes, they're getting healthier. They're getting guys back in the lineup. But look at Jimmy Butler. Look at their best player. Jimmy Butler last night, 36 points. He had 34 through 3 quarters. It isn't hard to figure out. The Heat aren't playing better because Tyler Hero's out. They're playing better because Jimmy Butler is in. And those first few games of the season, he treated like preseason. He didn't play in the preseason. The Heat are winning right now because of what Jimmy Butler is doing, and that's being their best player. They're not winning because Tyler Hero's out. Stop being stupid. So that's the first thing that I want to address as far as what's going on with your favorite little basketball team right now. I feel bad about Tyler Hero. They're winning. I feel bad about the conversation around Tyler Hero. They're winning right now because Highsmith, Robinson, Jaquez Jr., and most notably because of what Butler's doing right now. So Caleb Martin made his return last night. He missed the last 10 games after playing in one. minutes restriction, 12 minutes, but he's back. Hit a couple threes. Jaquez Jr. double figures off the bench. Played 33 minutes, man. Coach loves him. And look, Duncan Robinson, if they want to trade Duncan Robinson, I guess they can, because his trade value is high again, or it's the highest it's ever going to be, but I don't want to trade Duncan Robinson. I want Duncan Robinson to keep doing what he's doing for the Miami Heat. And I already told you, Duncan Robinson has been here for 6 years. I mean, next to Bam, he's the longest tenured player on the team. It's Bam and then Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson is the franchise all-time leader in three-point shooting. Duncan Robinson's an all-time great Miami Heat player. He's been here forever. Give him a little bit of respect. And I feel great for Duncan because he's back, man. And not only is he back, but this is the best version of Duncan Robinson we've seen. 26 points last night. He was 6 of 10 from 3. Jimmy led the way. Bam had 20 himself. Just a tremendous job. The Heat are really good. So I hosted Amber and Ian last night with Top Girl Amber Wilson. And I had the Heat game on at the same time. So, yeah, so here was my setup. Obviously, on the main computer here, I got the production screen. I got my connection with Bristol. And on the big TV here in the ZASLOW Mansion studio, I have the Heat game. And on my iPad, I had Thursday Night Football, Bengals and Ravens. So I'm paying attention to everything, and I was pretty dialed into the Heat game while being able to do the show. If I was doing any other show, remember I was hosting NFL Game Day during the Dolphin game, very difficult to keep track of what's going on with the Dolphins. And I had the red zone on anyway. Very difficult to keep track. And if I'm hosting with somebody else, I wouldn't have been able to really pay much attention to the Heat. But doing a show with Amber, I mean, it's second nature. So I could totally do a good show with her and also pay somewhat attention to what's going on in the Heat game. Thanks to anyone who hung out with us last night and listened to Amber and Ian. I thought it was a great episode as always. I love doing shows with her. I'm super grateful that they're having me. Not only that they're using me a lot, but that ESPN is putting me with her as often as they are. It's really great, and I'm super grateful. But the Heat last night, they're really good, man. And the best part is that 1-4 start, that feeling that you had. And I told you guys going into the season, I thought the attitude around the Heat was too negative. All the Lillard stuff, and then, the anti-Riley stuff, and the failing Jimmy Butler stuff. And it's just, you got to get over not getting Damian Lillard. Why have a negative attitude at the start of the season when you just came off an NBA Finals appearance? Be excited for the start of the season. But then you're out to a 1-4 start. It's I don't really have, I look stupid having told you that and telling you to buck up, I look stupid. But now, that start is so far behind us. 7-game win streak, 8-4. And look, you could talk about, and the Celtics look a cut above everybody else right now in the Eastern Conference, but everyone's on the 76ers tip, right? Heat are 8-4, Sixers are 8-3. So, just so thrilled with the start that the Heat have, I guess, recovered from, if you want to do it like that. But, yeah, so next up for the Heat, well, it'll probably be a big game, not a big game. I don't want to spoil it for you. Next up for the Heat tomorrow, they're at the Chicago Bulls. Actually, back-to-back games, Saturday and then Monday at the Bulls, who are terrible. But the Heat are good, man, and they're fun. They're back to the ball movement. They're able to score. I mean, the Heat got off to a slow start offensively last night, and they still managed to score 122. And the Nets don't suck. The Nets are a pretty average team, which their record would tell you exactly that. They're 6-6. But the Heat right now, longest win streak in the NBA, 7 consecutive wins. Second longest win streak in the NBA right now, Houston Rockets, who started 0-3. They're now 6-3. Excellent job Ime Udoka is doing with the Rockets. And that's such a weird thing with Udoka, right? Where the Celtics, you're not allowed to coach us anymore because of what you did. But you can go coach somewhere else. That whole rationale is so stupid. But anyway, the Heat, 8-4, 7 consecutive wins. Great performance in front of the home crowd last night between Butler. And Butler's having fun out there. And bam, dunking on fools. And Duncan Robinson draining threes on fools. I can't wait for Tyler Hero to come back. I'm looking forward to it, man. So we're in a great spot right now. I'm super happy about that. Last night, Thursday night football. We go into the game hoping, can the Bengals do us a solid? As Dolphin fans, we're rooting hard for the Bengals last night. We're rooting hard against the Ravens. And the Ravens smoke them. They win 34-20. Joe Burrow leaves the game in the second quarter. And this is a big story. We'll get to that. But Joe Burrow leaves with a hand injury mid-second quarter, ahead 10-7. And then it's like, yeah, now we're fucked because the Ravens have to win this game now. And they really need to win it going away, which is what I said last night on ESPN Radio. They need to blow them out now because Bengals aren't going to be able to do anything. And the Ravens need this game coming off that loss last week. And they could essentially end the Bengals season. The Bengals dropped to 5-5. It didn't come without a price. Mark Andrews lost for the season. He got hurt early in the game. He's going to have ankle surgery. So both teams, short week. Andrews out for the year. Burrow, not sure what his status is moving forward. But the Bengals dropping to 5-5. It kind of feels like they're done. The Ravens, though, so the Ravens improved to 8-3. Now, the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins are going to murder the Raiders this weekend. Not just because, all right, Antonio Pierce, you're 2-0. Now it's time for a little comeback to earth moment, all right? Plus, the Dolphins coming off a bye. Dolphins are feeling as healthy as they felt all year, apparently. Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane could be back. You get all that time to rest up coming back from the trip in London. The Dolphins had to sit and stew on that loss, not London, Germany, have had to sit and stew on that loss against the Chiefs. Hearing everybody talk about them being frauds for 2 weeks, you know they're pissed off about that. And we know this Dolphin team is a different animal at Hard Rock Stadium. They're going to murder the Raiders this weekend. And I already told you, I'm trying to go to the game. I'll see you there, Dolphin fans. Dolphins play better when I'm in the building. I haven't been to a game yet this year. They hear I'm coming. Home team plays better. So that's what we have going on this weekend for the Dolphins. But let's assume the Dolphins win. All right, the Dolphins would improve to 7-3. Baltimore is already 8-3. 8-3? Does that make sense? Yeah, they haven't had a bye yet. So the Dolphins would essentially be a game back. They're one back in the win column. All right. Let's look at the schedules. And why were we rooting so hard for the Ravens to lose last night? Dolphins play the Ravens in week 17. The Dolphins want to finish ahead of the Ravens because it's not just about winning the AFC East at this point. It's looking great for the Dolphins' chances to win the AFC East. But if you can get that second spot, get the top spot's going to be hard because they lose the tiebreak against Kansas City. But getting that second spot affords you 2 home games. You win the division and you host a divisional round game. And if somehow the top seed, we're assuming Kansas City, loses, then you host the AFC Championship, which last time the Dolphins were in the AFC Championship, 1992, it was the same scenario. They were the 2 seed, the 1 seed lost, they hosted the AFC Championship game. And back then, you had the top 2 seeds each had a bye. The Dolphins played the San Diego Chargers in the divisional round. I was there. It was pouring rain. Dolphins beat the Chargers 31-0. Keith Jackson added to... Man, Keith Jackson was good. But I remember, I was sitting way up in the upper deck. Me and my dad, we had our ponchos. Dolphins won 31-0. And they got to the AFC Championship game. They hosted it against the Bills. They lost 29-10. They're down 29-3. Mark Duper had a late touchdown to make it 29-10. Terrible. Last time, over 30 years ago, last time the Dolphins were in the AFC Championship game. But, all right, I digress. The whole point is, can you get to that number 2 spot? Because that gets you 2 home playoff games. And as you're going to see this weekend, when the Dolphins murder the Raiders, getting home playoff games is the road to the Super Bowl for this Dolphin team. Now, let's assume the Dolphins win this weekend. They're a game back, essentially, of the Ravens. Well, not even a game back of the Ravens, because the Ravens, they're going to have a bye week coming up. You could pull even with them. Like, The Ravens are 8-3 now. If the Dolphins win this weekend, they're 7-3. The key is, can you stay within a game of Baltimore? Because if you meet them in week 17 and you're a game back, okay, that's all right, because you can make up that game yourself. So if you're even with Baltimore, fine. If you're a game back of Baltimore going into week 17, that's also fine. The Ravens have their bye. Let's see. The Ravens play next week, week 12, and then they have their bye week 13. So the Dolphins will essentially be even with them. Can you stay within a game is the question. Here is each team's schedule leading up to week 17, Dolphins at Ravens. Baltimore at the LA Chargers, LA Rams, at Jacksonville, at San Francisco. So definitely need a loss at San Francisco there. That's week 16 before they play the Dolphins. The Dolphins' schedule after this game against Vegas: at the New York Jets, at Washington, Tennessee, New York Jets, Dallas. You could lose one of them, is what we're saying, right? You want to be within a game, so you could lose one. If the Ravens also, well, not even if the Ravens lose one. If the Ravens win all of those games, the Dolphins can lose one, all right? So, I mean, I don't think the Dolphins are going to lose any of those games. I really don't. At the Jets, at Washington, Tennessee, New York Jets, Dallas. I think the Dolphins win all of those games. But if you could, so I'm giving them a lot of leeway, a lot of cushion. The key is you need to stay within one game of Baltimore. Right now, they're even in the loss column, right? Let me just make sure. Let me make sure that sounds correct as far as the standings go. The Ravens have 3 losses and the Dolphins have 3 losses. So that's what you need to look at. Can you stay within one game? If the Ravens don't lose another game, up until week 17, the Dolphins can afford to lose one game. If the Ravens lose one game themselves, then you could afford to lose 2 games, which would be crazy for the Dolphins to lose 2 of those games that I just mentioned to you. So the key is, can the Dolphins get to that week 17 game within one loss of Baltimore? Right now, they're even in the loss column. And that's super important because you want that number 2 spot. It's a really big deal. You know what else is a big deal? Official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0, Johnny Cuba. European roots with that Caribbean soul. It's a refreshing German lager in a can. I already told you, we're doing another tailgate this Sunday. Dolphins, Raiders. I'm going to be on the Stay Tranquilo podcast. So my man, Miss the Tranquilo guy, Andre, I'm going to be on his podcast. I'm going to be on the Stay Tranquilo podcast. Talk Dolphins, a lot of Dolphins, maybe some Heat. I don't know. I can't predict the future. I don't know what they're going to ask me about. But we're going to do like a live podcast kind of deal. I'm going to go on their show. I think we're going to be in the West Orange area, but lots of food. Are You Hungry Grill, Johnny Cuba. I'll tell you the exact location Sunday morning, but you can also check out on my Instagram. I put out on the story how you could order in advance from Raul and Are You Hungry Grill. You can get some food. Drinks are on Johnny Cuba, but pay in advance $15 and you'll have food from Are You Hungry Grill. So want you to come on by. Like I said, I'll give you the exact location in the morning. But Johnny Cuba, you can pick up your own 6-pack of Johnny for the weekend. Your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. Always drink responsibly. And of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. All right, so I'm very excited about this weekend. We're all excited. It's the weekend. Why wouldn't you be excited? But you're probably saying to yourself, ZASLOW, there's so much going on right now. I got to know, is it a big game or is it not a big game? Big game or not a big game, every Friday. You know how we do. And of course, big game or not a big game, always brought to us by the only insurance agency I endorse here on ZASLOW Show 2.0, Brunt Insurance. I've been getting my homeowner's insurance from Brunt Insurance for 10 years now. And that's because I know with Brunt Insurance, I'm getting the most affordable coverage, I'm getting the best rate, and I know that my home is covered. I don't have to lay awake at night, can't fall asleep because I don't know if I'm covered. God forbid something happens. when you call Brunt Insurance at 954-589-2204 or go to bruntinsurance.com, you're getting the most affordable care. You're getting the best coverage. They also do renters, condo insurance. There's so many options out there. The team at Brunt Insurance, they specialize in making all the confusing options crystal clear. Their fully licensed team is going to help you every step of the way. At Brunt Insurance, they specialize in finding the perfect policy for you. They're going to educate you on all your options. You're going to know the ins and outs of your policy. Also, I get my homeowners from Brunt Insurance, but if you're looking for car insurance, boaters insurance, motorcycle insurance, 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com. You support the sponsors who support the show. I'm not recommending someone that I don't use myself. bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. Let's get after it. Big game or not a big game? Here's where we start. Tonight, 10 p.m., Bally Sports, Florida. Your Florida Panthers at the Anaheim Ducks. That's right. The Panthers, they lose last night. Panthers played well. Kings were better. Kings goalie was better. Panthers lose last night 2-1, so it's the second night of a back-to-back. This is a tough spot for the Panthers, and you want to avoid back-to-back losses. Their 5-game win streak was snapped last night, so they dropped to 10-5-1. The sign of a great team is always making sure you don't have losing streaks. Montour, Ekblad, they're day-to-day. They could be back at any point. They could return tonight. What a major boost that would be, especially since Josh Mahura got hurt last night. If you can get those guys back on the second night of a back-to-back and help out with some minutes, Panthers at Ducks. That's a big game. You know it. All right, tomorrow, 12 p.m., ABC. Number 10, Louisville at your Miami Hurricanes. ACC, Louisville, a ton on the line for them. The Miami Hurricanes, they stink. Everybody knows that at this point. I mean, what are you going to do? The Canes, 2-4 in the ACC. Louisville, 6-1. They're number 2 right now in the ACC. So if they want to get to that ACC title game, you can't drop below 2. They're looking forward to an ACC championship game against FSU. Can the Hurricanes play a little bit spoiler here? I don't know. Gotta see. Number 10, Louisville at Miami. Not a big game. It's not a big game. The Canes, they stink this year. All right. Saturday, 6:30. The CW. What the hell is that on the CW? I mean, I know what the CW is, but the game's on the CW? North Alabama at number 4, Florida State. The game's on the CW? I mean, is North Alabama even a Division I school? Anyway, I don't need to get into this. FSU, they're obviously going to murder them. This is not a big game. Moving on. Saturday, 7 p.m., pay-per-view. AEW Full Gear. That's right. Yesterday, if you missed Alex Marvez from AEW, also SiriusXM NFL Radio, did a little preview with him of AEW Full Gear. Go back in the ZASLOW Show 2.0 archives, and you can check out Alex Marvez. But tomorrow night, AEW Full Gear, a great main event as MJF, Maxwell, Jacob, Friedman, Top Jew, defends the AEW World title against Switchblade Jay White, who confiscated the world title. So MJF is trying to recover his world championship. Also, I'm very into Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. I think that match is going to be great. AEW Full Gear tomorrow night. That's a big game. Saturday, 7:30, ESPN. Florida Gators at number 9, Missouri. I mean, is it a surprise season for Missouri? I think so. Mizzou having a very big year. The Gators stink. Can they play spoiler? The Gators 3-4 in conference. Missouri 4-2 in conference. They're not going to make the title game because they play in the SEC East, which of course is where Georgia is. But even if they play in the SEC West, that's where Alabama is. And both Georgia and Alabama are undefeated in conference. Nonetheless, Missouri probably angling for one of the top bowl games. So tomorrow night, Florida at Missouri, not a big game. You thought I was going in a different direction. You were wrong. It's not a big game. Gators stink this year. I'm sorry. Sorry, Gator fan. Look, why do I need to apologize, Gator fans? I went to school there. I'm a Gator alum. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Bally Sports Sun. Your Miami Heat at the Chicago Bulls. It's the first night of a back-to-back Saturday and Monday back-to-back games in Chicago. The Heat, 7 wins in a row. Everybody knows that. The Bulls, they're 4-8. They suck. And this game is interesting because there's all kinds of trade rumors. Zach Levine, Alex Caruso. I don't know that Levine is a good fit for the Heat. Caruso would be a good fit for the Heat. But nonetheless, we're rooting for Bulls losses because you want there to be an opportunity that opens up for maybe the Miami Heat to poach some of their players and maybe make a trade and add on. So that starts tomorrow night. Heat at Bulls. That's a big game. Yep, ZASLOW, how's it a big game? Bulls suck. Because the Heat are going for their 8th win in a row. That's how. Finally, I got one more for you here. Big game or not a big game? Sunday, 1 p.m. CBS. Las Vegas Raiders at your Miami Dolphins. That's right. The Dolphin fan has had to sit and stew for the last 2 weeks, hearing all the nudniks on television talk about the Dolphins being a fraud. I'm looking for the Dolphins to put up a 40-piece on the Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce, enough out of you. This Raider team is trash. The Dolphins, it's going to be a track meet, and the Raiders are not going to be able to keep up. I'm thinking 42-17 Dolphin victory. Raiders at Dolphins. That's a big game. It's going to be a bloodbath, but it's still a big game. And that right there, courtesy of Brunt Insurance, 954-589-2204. BruntInsurance.com is another edition. A big game or not a big game. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.